Hi, this is Lily and welcome to my page. It's always an honor and a privilege to have you join me, so thank you. I would just like to start today and share with you about my journey, about who I am and where I came from. You might have seen a few of my videos. I might have just mentioned a few things, but today I would like to start you off in the very first time when I was born and where I was brought up. The reason for making these videos, I believe, is that we capture a lot of things about our lives that we can share with other people. And we are hoping that other people will take the time to share their story as well, because every story is different. And every story also we can, relate to them. And so I hope that my story can relate to someone and where I was born and where I was brought up and who I am. I don't believe I have to be a famous person for anyone to hear my story. I just want people to hear, exactly who I am and where I came from. I don't have to be a celebrity or be someone famous to share my story. I can just be who I am, and I hope that you will appreciate it. So I would like to start from the day my story starts and begins in the island of Niue, when two beautiful people met. My mum was standing outside at what they would call an outdoor movie back in the days. Would be in the late, in the 1950s over in Niue Island. This is where I was born, in a beautiful island called Niue. N-I-U-E, that's how it's spelt, for those of you who don't know where Niue is. It is the northeast of New Zealand, and it's about 3.5 hours plane flight from there. The only way for you to get into Niue is to go to New Zealand. That's the only flights you can catch into Niue and nowhere else. And so my story begins of two people meeting. So my mum is standing outside selling roasted peanuts, as she was told, that's what she does because her dad sends her out to do this. So I can imagine my mum being this beautiful woman. She's got a beautiful, she's a brunette. Her hair is just beautiful and black. And she has this beautiful fair skin because her my grandfather, her dad is half English, and her mum is part Samoan. So you blend all those together, and you've got this, beautiful, beautiful woman. So my mum would be standing there selling peanuts, and I believe she was only about 17, just turned 17, or even 16. And my dad comes along. He's 7 years older than Mum, and he's one of these guys who just loves to pick up women, I guess, back in those days. So this is how the story was told. I could just imagine my dad on a beautiful evening back in the islands, a beautiful warm evening. Let's just say it's no power, so you only got the lights around that area. So you can imagine the sky would be so beautiful, bright, glowing with the stars, and the moon could be out as well. So anyway, along comes my dad. I can imagine him with hands in his pockets and just walking up to Mum, and she would have captured, his attention. So he would have gone up to her, and that is how they would have met. I don't think he went up to buy peanuts, that's for sure. But anyway, as the story goes, as my mum was saying, and my dad, of course, that is the beginning of how my mum and dad met. So I would believe that my dad is this handsome looking guy as well, and saw this beautiful woman, and it was just, to me, it was just, wow, love at first sight for my dad, I believe, because my mum is one of those who will, pretend not to notice that someone had an eye on her. Anyway, so that's how my parents met, and later on, maybe 6 months later, or a few months, well, it could be 6 months, my mum was pregnant with my older sister. So they had to get married. I guess they had to get married, and the the day they got married was the day after Christmas Day, which was the 26th of December. I mean, who gets married on a day like that? I don't know. So anyway, they got married on the 26th of December, and then along came my sister Maureen. Of course, she was born, they got married in 1953, and my sister Maureen was born in March the 4th. And then a year later, my brother, well, not really a year later because he was born in January, so that would be, yeah. So anyway, he was born, my second oldest brother was born on January the 25th. And then you got my third brother, yes, they all come in a row, was born in the year after that, so you've got them 1954, my sister 1955, my brother, and 1956, my third eldest brother, and my fourth eldest sister, she was born a year later, but she is the one who is no longer with us. She passed away when she was 7 years old. So 2 years later, my sister Carol was born, and then I was born. I was number 6. So that is the beginning of my life. I was number 6 in the family, and later on there were 7 more born after me. So Mum and Dad had a big family, a big beautiful family that a lot of people wanted to adopt us, but Mum would have let us be adopted, but my dad said no to everyone that was asking for us. Nope, no, no. So back in the islands, also in a lot of cultures, or well, our island anyway, it was an honour for someone to ask for your child, and you dishonour them by not giving your child away. So I don't know. So with that part, there were a lot of children that were given to their aunties or uncles that couldn't have any children, or were just given away anyway. I'm glad that I was not given away, and so was my siblings, because my dad was adopted when he was young, and he was not happy with that. So I guess that's how we were all together. We stayed together because my dad was brought up as an adopted child. So I think he was not going to let his children go off and live with other people, or be adopted out. So that's how we all remain together until this day. But that will be the beginning of my story growing up back in the islands. And we lived in Hakupu. We're from the village of Hakupu, and I know that my parents were very, very busy with a big family. And Dad, I know, made a couple of visits to New Zealand. I think he wanted to take us, move us over there. We could have most probably moved earlier, but I think he had to plan. He had to plan where we're going to stay, where we're going to, how he was going to get work, and so for a big family. So my upbringing, growing up in Niue was beautiful. Memories were beautiful because I never knew what hunger was. I never knew what sadness was, or being left alone, or anything like that. Well, not so much left alone. I've never been left alone, but I never knew anything about. All I knew was that I was happy. I was a happy child growing up in the island, just beautiful and warm, and just absolutely, it's just hard to explain. There was no things like, oh, so-and-so's got better things than us, or look what they have. There was nothing like that. We were just, the only part I do remember quite well was if we didn't go to church on Sunday and people were coming home from church, I heard my parents say, put your head down, because back in the islands growing up, I think it was quite strict for people to go to church. It was this thing that we had to do. And I think it was just some Sundays I think our parents didn't feel like going, and yeah, so it was you had to attend church on Sunday. Every family had to go. And those are the memories. Also going to school, we had uniforms. I think only one uniform to wear, one dress to wear to school, and they were like rompers, if you know what rompers. Those were our knickers, because if we were running around as kids at home, we'd have no knickers, just a dress, or yes, but going to school we had to have our knickers, so that was our uniform, the rompers and the dress. One time I went to school without it, and I was jumping, skipping on the, you know how they have two people on the rope, and you all just go in. So someone saw that I had no knickers. Of course, I was so, anyway, so I was sent home to to put on some. Yeah, I forgot to put them on because, like I said, at home we had just run around with a dress and no knickers. But it was a beautiful, beautiful life being brought up. And what would I say if my parents had decided to live back in Niue? What would our life be like? I cannot imagine. It didn't cross my mind because we all have families now and grandchildren and children, and I wouldn't think about that. But it was a beautiful childhood. I think a lot of children do not experience what life is like for just the simple things in life. Just to go out and create your own fun. Go out and just explore. Get dirty, get muddy, get, you know, just go out and yeah. So I think that a lot of our children nowadays do not experience that. Their parents are just so, you know, very, keep them clean, and it's, a child needs to be dirty. A child needs to get dirty and get muddy, and oh well, that's just what I'm saying. They have to get them immune to this dirt and things like that, because it's just too much about keeping our children clean nowadays. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with keeping them clean, I guess, but there's nothing wrong with your child getting dirty as well. Going out and just being a child and explore. So thank you for joining me. That's just my first part about my life growing up, and I hope that you'll join me again on my next video, because I'm going to share more about growing up in Niue and what our lives were like. So thank you. This is Lily. Please subscribe to my page, and I'll see you again on my next video. Cheers for now.